I see here earlier today there was a Trump tweet. I'm talking about how we fight back, how we mobilize our own side, our own arguments, so we show people that if they actually go through the steps, assuming we're not going to have mail-in voting across the country, which who knows at this point, but assuming that we have an election that's normal, that it's worth it for them to actually show up and vote for Republicans. You know, remember, there's a whole lot of ways that this whole thing can shake out this fall, and if people believe that it's just not worth the effort to vote for Republicans, then that's a very good way, that's a very clear path for us to lose. Trump tweeted out this: "Too many universities and school systems are about radical left indoctrination, not education. Therefore, I am telling the Treasury Department to re-examine their tax-exempt status and/or funding, which will be taken away if this propaganda or act against public policy continues. Our children must be educated, not indoctrinated." Now, some of you are going to hear that. You're going to say, oh, okay, good. No, guys, no. It's not going to happen, first of all. Again, I tell you, it's not going to happen. You know, just certain things are, certain things aren't going to occur. Certain things aren't going to be in your future, okay? The president is not going to be able to pull the tax-exempt status of colleges and universities. It's certainly not going to get done before the election. And now, do I think that they are left-wing indoctrination centers? Yeah, but how are you going to gauge that? We've let the Democrat left take over all of these institutions. And now we think that the way to win them back is through acts of government regulation. Let me tell you, that is a sword that will cut both ways very quickly, and the other side will use it much more ruthlessly than we will. So this is a distraction. Again, a distraction. You know, where are the people out there who are willing to make the case about the trade-offs that we need to be prepared for as a society when it comes to handling COVID? Look, fine. I've told you about my frustrations today. So you know what? We'll ease into now we got some other things I wanted to get into and talk about. I don't want to make this me getting angry about the state of the GOP and, quite honestly, the state of the Trump campaign right now. The Trump campaign looks anemic, but we're told, just keep going with it. Schools. How are the schools? We're going to be fine, guys. I'm an optimist. Don't worry about it. Everything's. You can eat some red meat, drink some alcohol, and hope that Monday the country will still be in one piece. Schools are going to maybe reopen in some places, not in others. Half reopen in New York. That's classic. We have Pelosi out there saying that it's a risk to children. Play 14.
Secretary of Education indicated that if children should go to school, they have to take risks. Everybody takes risks. Take risks to ride a bicycle, to be an astronaut. There's risk. You have to take risk. No, we don't want our children to take risk to go to school. We're supposed to mitigate for any damage. We're supposed to keep them safe. So with stiff competition, that was one of the most ill-informed statements. Stiff competition, though, in this administration on this and other subjects.
This is the soft underbelly, for example, of the big Democrat arguments out there right now. Pelosi sounded for a moment.
She had had 3 or 4 glasses of Sauvignon Blanc.
No, Pelosi sounded like she was going to say something sane and reasonable. You know, there are risks in everything. There are risks in riding up. Yes, that is life. That is true. There are risks in all activities. There are risks in getting up out of bed and leaving your home. There are risks in staying in your home. But notice Pelosi sets that up like, no, that's the crazy position. We need to create a risk-free environment in schools when it comes to a pandemic that is out there that has already been shown to be essentially zero risk to children. Fact, the flu is more dangerous to kids. Influenza is more dangerous to kids than COVID-19. Fact, science, data. Do we shut down all the schools because of the flu? No, we do not. So to pretend that this is about risk to kids is a lie. It's a lie. I'm glad at least the president is strong on this. I'm giving credit where it's due. He's been making the case this week about how we got to open up schools. Here he is, play 16.
But the young and the healthy to safely return to work and to school. We have to open our schools. Open our schools. Stop this nonsense. We open our schools. Germany, Norway, so many countries right now, they're open. The schools are open, and they're doing just fine, and they're opening in the fall. So we have to get our schools open. Denmark, Sweden. We have to get our schools open and stop this political nonsense.
That's what it is, political nonsense. And everyone knows it, right? But people are so entrenched in this. You know, it was very interesting. I saw, I forget actually the guy's name, but I saw sort of a liberal journalist on Twitter who is one of these guys who calls out the insanity on the left. And he said that the real breaking point, and I'll tell you this, the breaking point for me with we need to be wartime conservatives and we need to really understand what the other side's all about was Kavanaugh, actually. That was when I realized that leftism in America, that the Democrat Party has largely embraced a kind of personal destruction politics and an immorality and just a lack of decency and dignity in the way that they pursue power, that they must be stopped. It's not just they have their way, we have our way. We have to do everything possible to prevent them from being able to inflict their lunacy and their evil on the rest of the country. Because what they did to Kavanaugh was evil. It was not, that wasn't political, that was grotesque. It was wrong. It was really the psychological, and really it was like the torture of a human being's soul televised for the entire country. Lies. It was all lies. And they went along with it. Democrat senators and all the media and the cowards at CNN and the morons at MSNBC, they all went along with it. For Jesse Singal, I believe is the guy's name, actually. I don't know him, don't know anything about him. I saw his thing on Twitter. And he said that for him, there was a real break with liberal journalists when the Covington story came out, and Covington Catholic High School from Kentucky. The boys are at the Lincoln Memorial, I believe it was, in Washington, D.C., and we're told that the Covington kids were being racist, right? They were being racist, and they were antagonizing a Native American activist and elder, and it was so racist. And adults, people like Reza Aslan, who's a disgusting little turd, they said, he should be punched. The kid should be punched in the face. And then the full video came out showing that the adults went up to the kids and antagonized the kids, and the kids didn't do anything. And thank God Nicholas Sandmann sued CNN. I hope he is, going swimming in a vault of gold coins after school every day, courtesy of Jeff Zucker and the rest of the CNN disgraces. But what was so interesting is when Jesse Singal pointed out that even when the video came out and it showed you exactly what happened, there's no dispute about what happened. You can see the whole thing unfold. You got audio, you got video, the lead up to it, everything is there. You watch the whole thing. So there were still liberal journalists who were like, no, still racist. The kids are still racist. It didn't matter. Liberalism, and I hate that term for it, and that's why I say leftism, but we need better words to describe who they are and what they are on the left. We need better terms to use for them. I mean, they're Democrats, and maybe that's just, we just need to always say, these are Democrats that are undermining and really destroying foundational principles of our society. It's Democrats who are doing this. But they're in a post-fact reality now. It doesn't matter. They will make a claim. The claim will be proven demonstrably, clearly false doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And as long as it was successful for the purposes of the left at the time, it is actually praiseworthy. And this guy, Single, I thought it was so interesting that he says they watched the video. He knew people in journalism would watch the video. This was all on Twitter. He wrote this. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. And that's where we are now. Right. This is how you get journalists who will be like, I'm at a mostly peaceful, protest. And they got hit in the head with a rock. Because the truth, it doesn't matter. They're trying to create a perception of the country, of what's happening, that is in line with a narrative that benefits them individually and benefits their view of what life could be if only people all believed the lies. That's what we're up against. So it is very challenging. And I know I've been a little hard on the president and the campaign recently saying, where's the counter message? Where's the counter message? It's not easy. And it's going to take a lot. And I'm hoping the rally in New Hampshire, although I'm seeing it might be delayed because of weather, I'm hoping that is a really important and powerful moment of further, I keep using this term mobilization, but that's really what it is. People get energized. People feel like, hold on a second, there's something here. You felt that energy in 2016. Every rally, every Trump speech, every time Trump was on TV and his supporters, and they were walking around with these MAGA hats on. They're like, oh, it's coming. And a lot of you in this audience knew, and you were telling me, and I was like, really? You think this guy can win? You were like, you're darn right he can win, Buck. I'm guaranteeing you he's going to win. You saw it. Where is that? How do we recapture that? How do we get that back? That's what we have to do. If that doesn't happen, we lose. And these complete and utter lunatics will be running the country. I mean, Joe Biden's policy document that came out that was written by the left-wing radicals of his party makes it very clear what we're in for. All they have to do, just to give you a sense of the stakes, all they have to do is get amnesty and it's all over. Then it'll be, conservatism will be this ideology that's kind of almost a historical, it'll be an anachronism. It'll be something like, oh, that's cute. It'll be like libertarians are today. We're all libertarians. You guys are nice and all, but pat on the head. You're never going to have a president. You're never going to win any offices. You're never going to have any power. Great. Conservatism will be like that. And you'll just basically have a one-party state where the only fighting is over how much Marxism there is, how deep and how far-reaching the identity politics are, what aspects of the Constitution are completely dispensed with. That is what we're facing. I don't think there's really any question about it. And people should understand that, because right now I think it's easy to fall back and get a little complacent and feel like, but is it really, are the stakes really that high? Depends. Do you like living in a place where they disband the cops? Because even those of you who live in red states, guess what's going to happen? You like living in a place where the federal government comes in and says, yeah, no, you're not allowed to have any guns. Guess what's going to happen? Working from home is driving up one of the worst kinds of theft out there online, home title theft. Here's how it works. Your home's information is out there online, and the bad guys use cyber intrusions to steal that data. Then they set up a loan against your home, take all that cash, and you get stuck with the payments. This is a crime the FBI is warning people about all the time, but banks, insurance, and basic identity theft services don't really protect you. Your home's title is online, where the bad guys can forge your signature and state that you sold your home to them. So you got to protect yourself with Home Title Lock. Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier around your home's title. So take that step right now. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim. Use code BUCK for 30 free days of protection to help you get through this crisis. HomeTitleLock.com. Again, go check it out for yourself. HomeTitleLock.com. Use code BUCK.
I can hardly wait. I can hardly wait to deal with what he refers to himself as a stable genius. I can hardly wait to debate it.
Do we think those debates are even going to happen? People ask me, and I say, I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows at this point. You want to really, if you're a Democrat, you're going to expose Joe Biden to that, to being out there in front of the whole world so that we can all see him go, the thing, and then there's a pomegranate on top of the ship deck, and then I came down and I saw an umbrella and it was going to the moon, and, yeah, man, vote for me, I'm president, yeah, or senator, or whatever, chief dog catcher, who knows? That's what they're thinking. That's what they're hoping to do. I wanted to note that there was a thread here from Alex Berenson. He's the data-based skeptic of panic that we've had him on the show before. Here's what he says about coronavirus in the Sun Belt particularly. He says, let's talk about, this is all from his thread, let's talk about the catastrophe in the Sun Belt. Positive tests are running high. Hospitals are fuller, but not full. And yes, now deaths have risen. How much? Arizona, Florida, Texas, with 60 million people, reported 242 deaths combined yesterday, which is down from 293 the day before that. This number is not fully comparable to the New York April figures because the epidemic has gone on long enough that there is much more backdating now, so current counts may be somewhat inflated. But on its face, it translates into a death rate of about 10% of New York's peak days. Further, although deaths lag, the Sunbelt spike has now gone on long enough that the pig should be making its way through the python. It's quite an analogy. That is, deaths typically occur 14 to 18 days after a positive test and 10 to 14 days after hospitalization. In New York, the gap was much shorter. In fact, after adjusting for that 2-week lag, Florida and Texas are reporting relatively low case fatality rates right now. Multiplying actual versus reported cases by 10x, this is probably low, but they've been testing heavily, puts the IFR right in the 0.2 to 0.3% we'd expect, individual fatality rate. If, as serology studies have suggested, the actual versus reported rate is more like 20x for every positive test 20 people have been infected, the infection fatality rate will be even lower. Possible treatments will have improved, or we are protecting if treatments have improved, or we are protecting nursing homes better. So that's a little bit of additional background here on what's really happening. And as I've been saying, okay, maybe we have hit a spike in these places, but the virus is ripping through, and the virus will go down. It will go down. And what will happen, though, is if we lock down before the virus on its own starts to go down, which is what will happen as people change their behaviors and take additional precautions on their own. And but as that happens, they want the lockdown so that then it's they have to make sure the lockdown occurs when the downslope of the cases and the fatalities happens. Because one, if it doesn't, then people will say, well, why are we locking down if this is happening anyway? And two, as long as they get that going around the same time, and it really is already happening in some of these states, Texas and others, they can say, well, we don't want it to come back, so we've got to stay in lockdown until the cases go down to zero. Crush the virus, they say, which was never really the strategy. That's never what was agreed on, but that's what's going on. That's what they're trying to do. And some of it is fear-driven and panic-driven. They're going, what does Bill Nye, the science guy, have to say about this? I saw that tweet today. Bill Nye has an undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering. I don't give a crap what Bill Nye thinks about SARS-CoV-2. Working from home is driving up one of the worst kinds of theft out there online, home title theft. Here's how it works. Your home's information is out there online, and the bad guys use cyber intrusions to steal that data. Then they set up a loan against your home, take all that cash, and you get stuck with the payments. This is a crime the FBI is warning people about all the time, but banks, insurance, and basic identity theft services don't really protect you. Your home's title is online where the bad guys can forge your signature and state that you sold your home to them. So you got to protect yourself with Home Title Lock. Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier around your home's title. So take that step right now. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim. Use code BUCK for 30 free days of protection to help you get through this crisis. HomeTitleLock.com. Again, go check it out for yourself. HomeTitleLock.com. Use code BUCK. Can I just take a quick bow, folks, on something? Not really it's not bow worthy, I agree. Some of you are like, boo, Buck, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. I'm the smartest, the best. You don't need to be that guy. You want to be a normal person who understands that, you know, we're all trying to learn as we go, and everybody makes mistakes. But I was right about what would happen with Judge Sullivan. What would happen with Judge Sullivan in the Flynn case? It's come out today that he is delaying and wants a full en banc, or there will be a full en banc review. I always say it like more French. People say en banc, I think. But that's happening because the day that the initial appeals court ruling came down, sure enough, I said, this is good, but it's not over, folks, because guess what? He's going to demand an en banc hearing. He's going to drag this out. They're never going to let this go. The deep state loons will never let this stuff go. They're just going to make it's clear what justice demands here. Justice demands an apology for General Flynn, you know, a check from the federal government for about $10 million. And we're so sorry, sir. This should have never happened to you. Please accept our apologies. That's justice. No. Not to this judge. He's decided that even though an appeals court has already said, you got to end this trial. He's like, no, I want the whole appeals court to hear this. I'm going to drag this out a little more. It's stunning, but I the day of it, I actually have a written record of it on Twitter. When this initially came out, on the 24th of June, I wrote, very good news for Flynn and a big step for justice, but it's not over. Judge Sullivan has come this far. Why would he give up? He has no integrity or impartiality to protect anymore. Stop thinking these deep state anti-Trumpers are rational and fair. Prepare for en banc. Guess what was announced today? In the last 24 hours. En banc. So I'm just saying the Buckster nailed that one. Do I get a high five, producer Mark?
Sure, next time I see you.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah, which I feel like it's been so long. You know, you could have grown hair down the center of your back, have a big beard, wearing tie-dyed shirts now and all this stuff. You know, you're just, I don't even know, man. I haven't seen you in forever.
Yes, I'm actually buff with long hair now.
Nice. That's a good job. Congrats. So we talked about Biden debating Trump. I think that this could go either way. If they have any excuse, if they think that Biden's basically going to win and there's no need, why would they take the risk? They don't want Biden to be there like, you know, 7 little chipmunks sitting on a branch, eating a lot of acorns on my uncle's ranch, step into my office because I'm Joe Biden. I know it doesn't really sound like that, but you get the idea. So that's one thing. Oh, some of you have been asking me about China stuff, and I have not been talking very much about it. We got a few things here. One is, I sound a little bit like Cuomo there. Let's talk a little about China. China is a place that's very large. What do I mean by very large? I mean that it's a country where Governor Cuomo is not in charge. Why is he not in charge? Because it's technically a communist. Okay. There was a border skirmish between some Chinese and Indian soldiers recently, and from what I read of it, it got so close quarters. This is way up at very high elevation, but it got so close quarters that there were clubs. It was hand-to-hand combat, and a couple of dozen people were killed. It was really vicious and nasty. And now India is saying that they're going to ban certain apps like TikTok. So, now we got to talk about TikTok. Hold on. Let's deal. I'll get into the TikTok thing in a second. And it's not like TikTok that you're hearing on the news about the election or anything like that. Pompeo, here's what he said about China just as a general. The Secretary of State, play 20.
Incapable of being transparent, of accepting criticism, of allowing reporters to ask them questions that they find uncomfortable, that elicit the truth and the facts. We still have significant questions about who patient zero was. Now, 6 months on at least from when this began. The Chinese Communist Party, that authoritarian model, simply can't prevent the kind of inquiry, or has to prevent that kind of inquiry because they're afraid. They're afraid that the truth will be something that will not shine a happy light on what took place. And so instead they chose to hide and obfuscate and deny basic truth, basic scientific truths about what took place. This is a fundamental and fatal flaw for authoritarian regimes, and it's why the Chinese Communist Party has to be held accountable.
Yeah, China is not being a good partner, to put it mildly, on figuring out the whole chain of transmission from the first person to now millions and millions of people around the world with COVID-19. I think we will return to the debates over whether this was in a lab and perhaps tinkered with, but not necessarily engineered from scratch in a lab, versus whether it came from someone eating bat or pangolin soup. I feel like we settled on, for that theory, it was supposed to be pangolin and not bat, but then it was maybe back to bat. Of all the soups, producer Mark, I got to say, bat would be, if I were having some form of rare animal soup, bat would be like top 5 last animals that I would want to eat.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think I would ever try bat soup.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. And it always reminds me of that scene in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which I'm assuming you've seen, right?
Of course.
Yeah, where they cut open the big boa constrictor and it eats the baby snakes. And, man, that was, I wouldn't. And then they eat monkey brains. I think I'd go monkey brains before. No, actually, I couldn't do that. Monkeys. I like monkeys. So I'd eat
I don't like eating weird stuff.
I'm with you on that. It's not worth it. You know, although gator does taste, it is true. It's not a joke. Gator does kind of taste like chicken. It's like oily chicken. You ever eaten alligator before? You go down to New Orleans, you can eat it pretty easily. They have it all over the place. Ostrich just tastes like turkey, but tougher. I don't know. I'm not an ostrich fan. So, but those are things that are normal to eat, right? Anyway, what was I talking? Eat bats. I was like, what were we talking? Bat soup. Sorry, I got a little bit off track there for a second. So we haven't been able to find out from the Chinese what's really going on with that, and they're never going to tell us, because China is responsible for destroying the global economy pretty much, and trillions and trillions of dollars of wealth destroyed and ruined, and lives ruined, and people dying, and the amount of misery and despair that China's dishonesty and ineptitude has inflicted upon the whole world is something they'll never make amends for, and they'll never admit. Remember, this is a country that pretends it didn't starve 60 million of its own people to death about 50 years ago. Okay? 60 million, folks. Mao's great leap forward. Yeah, 60 million. 40 to 60 million is the estimate you usually see. So there's that. And then there's the continuing cyber espionage campaign against the U.S. and against any global competitor that China has. And this app called TikTok. Now, and I know this is from a counterintelligence perspective, all my friends from the CI world are going to groan and throw things at their speaker right now as they hear me say this. But yes, I do have TikTok on my phone. I thought it was a new and emerging platform. I thought I should understand it. Producer Mark, do you ever use it?
Yes, I also have the app on my phone.
Yeah. Apparently that means that Beijing can just see whatever Producer Mark is texting Mrs. Mark. I'm just saying, keep it clean, because they can see everything. I don't know if that's really true or not, but that's what
I don't think that's true either.
That's what everyone's. I know it's not true, but that's what everyone's afraid of. You were very quiet there for a second, though. So they're worried that the origins of the TikTok app, because it is a Chinese state-backed entity, that they are using this as a giant surveillance operation, effectively. So here's Pompeo talking about that. Play 19.
With respect to TikTok, I want to put it in the broader context. We have been engaged in a constant evaluation about ensuring that we protect the privacy of American citizens and their information as it transits. So this doesn't relate to any one particular business or company, but rather to American national security. And we are striving to get that light. The comments that I made about a particular company earlier this week fall in the context of us evaluating the threat from the Chinese Communist Party. We've talked about it in the context of ZTE. We've talked about it in the context of Huawei. And we are now evaluating each instance where we believe that U.S. citizens' data that they have on their phones or in their system or in their health care records, we want to make sure that the Chinese Communist Party doesn't have a way to easily access that. And so what you'll see the administration do is take actions that preserve and protect that information and deny the Chinese Communist Party access to the private information that belongs to Americans.
Okay, I mean, that all sounds reasonable. And at some point, this degree of technical know-how becomes something that you're just going to trust the experts, which is a scary thing to say these days. You know, they're saying you have to be worried about this. I'm just going to tell you this, though. TikTok is pretty addictive. You ever use it, Producer Mark? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, you can spend hours on it without even noticing that you spent hours on it.
Hours. It combines the kind of curated video feeling of Netflix with the quick hit, just scroll of Instagram, and you can just sit there and you'll just watch. I mean, you know what I really love are they make these short cooking videos where it's just like bing, bang, boom, and all of a sudden you've got everything you need done to make, fried chicken or to make, baked ziti or whatever, and it's addictive. And there's also this other thing where they show you how to do a shuffle dance, which I have not yet learned to do, but it looks cool, and I think I could do it. Do you ever see those shuffle dance videos?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm partial to the dog videos, though.
There's some great dog stuff on there, too. Yeah, there's some great dog stuff. So there's good content on there. And I kind of want to start doing some Freedom Hunt content on there, but not if we're going to be told that this is a communist Chinese spying apparatus. But I kind of wonder, I mean, unless they can get access to your phone, which, I mean, they've got a whole lot of technological capability that even goes beyond, say, what Apple security could detect. And unless they can do that, I don't know. What are they're going to find out that I like dog videos and cooking videos and wish I could dance? I mean, I don't really see the harm, but I know all my CI friends, Buck, 5G, Huawei. Oh, they're all going to get so mad at me. I know. Look, I'm the one who says that China's engaged in a civilization-altering theft of intellectual property, technology, and advancement over decades long, and that we're going to wake up in, I've been saying 50, it's probably more like 10 or 15 years, and realize, okay, so we're not actually ahead of China in anything anymore. That's what's going to happen. And that's going to be not a good moment, not a good realization for all of us. So I'll have to see how all of that shakes out. But I don't know. I kind of like TikTok. So you can all, I know, yell at me in the comment section, tell me how terrible I am for liking TikTok, but it's kind of fun. Some groovy tunes. All right, team, I want to introduce you to somebody who's up on the political scene now, and I think you're going to be hearing a lot more from in the months and years ahead. She's a candidate for Colorado's district, the 3rd district out in the west of the state. Lauren Boebert joins us now. She's also a mom, a business owner. She just won her primary. Lauren, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks so much for having me on today. As a mom, I've never been a politician, but I am certainly a freedom-loving patriot.
Yes. Tell us how things are going out in Colorado, because there's so much focus right now on COVID and the economy and the reopen. Colorado's actually doing pretty well from what I gather, but you tell us, how are things going out there?
Colorado is doing well, and I think it's time for us to reopen. I've been a champion for reopening small businesses for quite some time now. In my restaurant in Rifle, Colorado, I actually took a stand against Governor Jared Polis's tyrannical orders after he was extending his executive orders, forcing small businesses to stay shut down. And I really took a stand against that and opened my restaurant. I followed government's guidelines. That's the proper role of government, to inform us of the risk and then allow us to use our personal responsibility to choose if we want to take that risk or not. So I followed the CDC guidelines and I reopened my restaurant. Through that, I had a lot of elected officials coming against me, and I even lost my food license for about a week. But the city of Rifle stepped in and they commended me for spurring this into action and getting something done to open small businesses. We had Walmart that was open in Rifle, Colorado, with customers able to walk freely throughout their stores. But yet small business owners were being forced to close. That's government choosing winners and losers instead of stepping in and having reasonable solutions, like the city of Rifle ended up building patios outside of other restaurants right there on the street where Shooter's Grill is.
Lauren, and I'm so glad to hear that you were willing to go against, as you put it, the tyrannical orders, because I'm here in New York, and so many folks are just lying down and doing whatever they're told to do by the government, especially about their small businesses. When you were in that state of reopen, I'm just wondering, how much time would you say you would have had left before you'd have to think, I don't know if I'll ever be able to open up my restaurant? And are you seeing throughout the state of Colorado concerns from small business owners that they may never be able to reopen if they can't get back up and running soon?
Unfortunately, that is the case. And that is exactly where I was. My husband and I used to have a savings account. We poured everything into our business to keep our employees employed. I didn't feel comfortable taking the PPP loan. I just didn't have peace about that. And I'm really grateful that I personally didn't. For those who did, great. I'm glad that it helped. But it kept me in the fight to reopen small businesses. I didn't become just complacent and saying everything's taken care of. I'll let government do their thing. But I was out of time. Payday was coming, and I was going to have to look my employees in the eye and say, I'm sorry, thank you for all the hard work that you've done, but I can't pay you this week. And when I called my county commissioners, when I called the county public health department, and I told them that our doors were going to be closed if we didn't do something soon, they said, it's okay, you can wait another week. We're going to start our discussions next week. They said, no, you're still receiving a paycheck. So it's much different for you to wait another week than it is for my employees and myself. And, not only were they receiving that paycheck, but they still had a sense of purpose in life. They were able to wake up in the morning and fulfill their daily duties and have that sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. Well, so many of us were at home with a sense of hopelessness, with nothing to look forward to.
Lauren, we've got an army of loyal listeners, especially in the outer reaches of Denver and the suburbs, and they can reach all the way out. The signal there from 93.7 can reach out to all corners of your state. So I just want to know, we got about 30 seconds left, but how's your race going, and where should people go if they want to help out?
This race is amazing. I just won my primary for the first time in 48 years here in Colorado. An incumbent has been taken out in a primary. It's been tremendous. The momentum all throughout the district has been great, and all throughout our state and nation even. People are following. This is as grassroots as it gets, and our campaign is only as successful as the people that I've surrounded myself during the primary, and I'm excited to bring that same passion and enthusiasm into the general election to take out my far left opponent, Diane Mitch Bush. And I need everyone's help at laurenforcolorado.com to join me in taking her socialist narrative out.
All right, Lauren, when you win, you got to come back on and celebrate with us, okay? Thanks so much, and good luck.
I'll be here. Thanks, Buck.
Thanks so much.